Hi everyone, this is the how to make a robot walker from set C42099. It's a C build and it basically makes a little walker. Here's all the ingredients that you'll need. There's a full parts list in Rebrickable, but it's all built around the Control Plus motors and hub. We're only using the two large motors, not the steering motor, but that's enough to get a steerable walking robot. It's really unfortunate, I think, that LEGO really hasn't made the Control Plus system modifiable. But thankfully, there is a couple of different apps that you can use to control the robot walker. They're a little bit curious sometimes, but they're perfectly usable, so you don't need to be stuck with the limitations of the Control Plus system. So if you're using a reverse video for the first time, something to bear in mind is that it's useful to watch on your iPad or your tablet and to just pause and rewind little bits so that you can go back and figure out how to apply different things, because this is going to go a bit faster than probably what you can build at. Certainly what I can build at. So no shame in taking things a little bit slower. And what we're going to be building here is a walker that's inspired by another design, and I'll leave a link to that other design in the notes. It's great to get inspired by other people's mocks and C builds. It's certainly what I've found really fun, and I'd inspire you, or I'd hope that other people are inspired by this build to change it, make it better. Let me know ways that it could be improved, because I'm no expert. I'm just doing this for fun, and there's probably better ways that you could make this. But for now, this is a fun little project, and you can add your own robot to the top. So this first video is really just about how to build the base, the walker, and then after that you can build whatever you want to sit on top and to make it look like a wonderful thing. Yeah, I'm labouring that point a little bit, but anyway. As you might have guessed by now, if you're a smart person, each motor drives one side of the walker, so that if you change one speed of one side, it'll turn the robot around, the walker around. Each side of the walker is a mirror image of the other, but flipped on 180 degrees so that the motors don't clash with each other, and that it's quite a compact design. I only recently got back into LEGO, and as a kid I grew up on the studful version of LEGO Technic. So to get used to all of the studless pieces was a bit of a challenge, but I'm really liking it now. I find that there's a lot of versatility in what you can do, but I still find it a bit hard to make transitions, particularly around 90 degrees. That's still getting quite a lot of used to. If anyone has any tips for building tips for how to transition your holes or your pins through 90 degrees in one orientation or another, that'd be super useful. I can't believe no one, well, I can't believe I've not come across resources on how to do that so far. Yes, I put stickers on my Lego when I get them. I know that that's somehow, for some reason, a no-no amongst like earnest Lego builders, but I quite like the stickers. It means that the model looks like it how it's supposed to look. And yes, it does mean that in a C build you've got kind of stickers in places that maybe they shouldn't exist, but no, whatever. That's the price we pay for aesthetics. If you're really dedicated, you could rebuild this Walker a second time round with all the stickers sort of facing inwards or strategically revealed in different places if you wanted to make it look really special. But look, I'm not that fussy. If you are, good for you. So at this point, we're starting to build out the side rails of the Walker. And when I said before that each side is a mirror image of the other, that's not quite true. There are little things that just mean that you can't quite do that. But again, if someone's come up with a better design, I'm more than happy to hear it and see how it can be improved. I made this model before coronavirus, but I'm making the video in the middle of it. And I'm really hoping that for people like me who are, needing something to distract themselves a little bit from what's going on in the world, that this might be something which is a fun thing to do and just get you out of the anxiety for a little bit. Um, so at this point, it's still looking pretty symmetrical. There's not really much difference between the two sides. I really like the new, stronger gears, the bevel gears, double bevel gears. When I was a kid, the gears, particularly the little tiny tooth small gear, would break pretty easily. And I'm loving the fact that these gears are very much more versatile. You can use them as bevel gears, you can use them as linear gears, you can put more pressure on them. They don't have quite as much backlash, I think, as some of the earlier gears. So I'm loving that. When you put this piece on, don't be worried. I know it seems very dodgy as hell and slippery and but it gets better. It gets stronger. Don't worry. It'll come together. Just give it time. Another thing that I'm growing to love about the new, well, it's not new anymore, but the studless, more recent versions of LEGO Technic that have evolved since I've grown up is much more use of 3 stud wide pins, like this blue pin here. I think that's just such a great thing. God, when I was a kid, like there was just black pins and grey pins, and you either had friction or you didn't. And like if you wanted to do these complicated things of having 3 bricks through 1 pin, nope, couldn't be done. You had to figure out some other way, and it was tedious. It was quite challenging. So I've used the gears that came with the 42099 4x4 off-roader set to kind of just give it more gear reduction. You don't want a Walker kind of racing along, tearing itself apart. So I've used the bevel gears to do that, and have used two beams on either side of the gears to give it plenty of strength. In order to build the Walker, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of beams moving on beams, a lot more moving parts than the 42099 itself. So the 42099 set doesn't come with many frictionless pins like this one. So you have to really, I had to really choose carefully and use a lot of just axles where I wanted frictionless movement. You don't have to do that if you've got other sets and you want to just change out some of the axles and stops for frictionless pins. Do that, but I am using just the ingredients, just the parts from 42099, so that anybody else who just has that set can happily build this entire Walker and the upper body without having to have any other extra pieces. So this little orange piece here is the main drive linkage, and it's right in the middle of the Walker, which just helps to kind of, here you can see how far apart everything is, so count the little holes. I'm giving you a little video prompt to try and help you to find where everything is. That black axle there is a bit hard to see, but that's where one of the gears is driven from. So do take the time to kind of just get everything in the right spot now, because it's much harder to move it around after the fact, which I did so many times. Oh my God, it took a lot of putting it together, undoing it, putting it together again, undoing it to figure out the way to make all this sort of line up. But it was worth it. It was really fun. Again, if you don't like stickers or whatever, then you can just put these beams somewhere else. I quite like them. I think it gives a bit of an organic feel for Wally. Wally is the name that I gave this walking robot. See, now that that section there is all coming together nicely, it's all getting a bit stronger. And you can count the holes, hit pause and count the holes so that you know that you've got the right length piece, but you know. Again, I've used a lot of axles here. If you've got other pieces, frictionless pins, sure, use that. On these legs at the back here, I've made use of the fact that those orange little two length pieces have a cross hole in them, so that holds the pin in, which is pretty cool. Means less kind of poking out bits, which is nice. There we go. It's beginning to look like it has legs, sort of. You'll get there. I've tried to use the frictionless pins on the parts of the Walker that have the most movement and that are under the most tension. So the legs that are kind of got, that are just following the movement of the rest of the Walker or have got less tension, that's where I've used axles. And And this little orange driving linkage here, it's got quite a lot of tension in it, so it's worthwhile using a frictionless pin. It's got a little bit more, a little bit less slack in it than an axle through a hole. So as you can see, it's a 6-legged worker, which I suppose, does that make it an insect? I'm not sure. It's not a spider, but anyway, it's a walking thing with 6 legs. I'm sure someone will correct me and say that it's actually neither an insect or a spider, but whatever. It's a Lego thing. It has 6 legs. It walks. Now I've made the legs a little longer than the original design that I was inspired by. You can make them a bit shorter or a bit longer. If you make them a bit shorter, he won't move as fast and the movement will be a little bit smoother. If you make them longer, the movement will be more jerky, more wobbly, but he'll have more ground clearance as well. So it's all a trade-off, really. I mean, if you're wanting some sort of, all-terrain walking robot, you might want to build this differently. But if you're putting this just on smooth surfaces, you could get away with even shorter legs than this. I've used these little half-width bars here to kind of just close off one of the axles and give it a bit more of a chunky look. He was looking all sort of, knees and ankles, too many pointy out bits, so I just kind of made his middle leg a bit fatter. It's not a super complicated build, really. I mean, we're almost about a bit under halfway through now, and it's not that complicated, really. You can see here I've used a little joining piece, to connect or to close off one of the axles. It's just a limitation of the set, the 42099. It doesn't come with that many stops. So if you've got them in your collection, use them. And here I'm marking out how many holes you need between all the bits. It's quite critical. If you get this wrong, it won't even move. It'll just lock up. It'll turn itself into a supernova and explode if you don't get it exactly right. So take the time to get it exactly right. All the holes have got to be the same, the right distance apart. Otherwise, it's painful. And this may not be the best configuration. If you've got better linkage ratios, certainly put them in the comments. I'd be keen to hear them. I'm sure there's a smoother walking pattern that it can have, but for now it walks, and that is enough. When shooting the video, I tried to kind of make it that you could, see what was going on, but I admit it's pretty slow in some parts. So, forgive me. This is the first instructional video I've ever made. It's my first, so it's probably not going to be as amazing as some of the others, but it will do. Again, I've used these little orange 2 beams here to kind of create a bit of connection and rigidity to the sides. I love these little 90-degree beams. They're lift arms. They're great. Again, when I was a kid, Technical Lego did not have such things. They did not exist. I'm probably making it very clear that I am old. Well, old enough that I am definitely an adult fan of Lego, not a kid fan of Lego anymore. I would love it if kids made this, actually. If you're a kid, if you're young and you've made this, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. I love the idea of kids having fun with this and mucking around with it, changing it, making it better, making it different, making it theirs. So at this point, the two halves of the thing should be pretty much the same. If you're looking at it and it's finding that they don't look the same, then there's a problem. You need to go back and have another go. There we are. That shot there just shows you where all the connecting pins and axles should be. So just take a little bit of time to make sure it's all right. Yeah, so again, me laboriously explaining or trying to show you where the gears should be, which is probably unnecessary since you've already seen it before, but whatever. Just try to make it a bit easier to build. I do really like that LEGO color codes its key things like axles, so that you can easily find the one that you need. It's quite a nifty, very intentional design, I suspect. Why is that grey connector attached, you ask? Well, all shall be revealed. Later on, the hub gets attached on top of the two motors, and I needed a few places to kind of, create a little housing for the hub. It'll all make sense soon. Well, the good news is that we've only got about a quarter left to go. So the end of it comes together pretty quick. God, I really just dwell on showing you how long those things are. It's not necessary anyway. It's just a bit hard to know what is useful for people who are building at home when you're sort of undoing these things in reverse. So, I guess that's why I'm showing you a lot the length of things. Mm. My filming here could have been better. I'm a bit out of shot. Sorry about that. Oh, come on, Tony. Get it together. Yes, it's a 3-length pin with a stop on it. I mean, God, I don't really need to show people that. But anyway, it's all good. If you do have any suggestions for like making the video to make it clearer, do let me know. I'm not a professional filmmaker or anything. I'm not a professional Lego builder. I'm not a professional anything much really. But if you do have some basic tips to improve this as an instructional video, then do let me know. Including, should I be on the video? Really, is it necessary? Probably not. I'm just, yeah. Okay, that's the second pair of legs almost there. We just need that third leg. Yeah, okay, Tony, we know it moves. Yeah, good. So the middle leg drives the other two. It's all, well, it's a little linkage, they're all driven together. The reverse video here makes it look much harder than it really is to assemble this. It's just hard to undo it slowly so that people can see what's going on. Putting it together is actually easier than it looks. It's not that complicated. I do love the anti-gravity effects of reverse video. Here we are, laboriously showing you how many holes to have things in. I've intentionally made the legs a little bit longer than is needed at the top, like one hole at the front and 3 holes at the back there, so that you can attach things to the top of the legs, from the top of the legs to the body of a robot or a dinosaur or a lizard or whatever you're making. And that gives the rest of the body some movement without you having to create more gears and motors and crap like that. So there's a little bit of, I mean, if you don't want to have extra holes at the top, you don't really need them unless you want to attach something to them. So you could make the legs shorter and not have the little bits at the top there. Yeah, all right, we know what it is. God. Okay, it's got 6 legs. Woohoo! If you want to be like me and just check that it all works, at this point you can turn the hub on and check to see how it works. You do need to use it with one of the apps that actually works. Given the bloody LEGO Control Plus app does not, which is really irritating. And the app that you can use to control this really easily is called Boost Remote. I'll provide a link to it. It's in the App Store. I'm not sure whether it's in the Google Play Store, but it's in the App Store, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't in the Google Store as well. Now, I tried so hard to come up with good-looking utilitarian feet for the Walker. I just look, I mean, I'm okay with these. They're all right. But I kind of wanted, I mean, originally I had these things with ankles and stripy legs. No, look, it's just, if someone has a better foot design for the Walker, I'd be happy to see it. I was sort of okay with it, but that's about it. I've just noticed that his middle leg has the red bit on the inside and his other leg on the outside. That's odd. Maybe I just had a thing for red and black. Interestingly, after I made this walker, I bought the rough terrain crane, which is the huge 4,000 piece thing, and its outrigger feet are quite elegant. And so if I might come back to this walker and see if I can have yet another go at coming up with some feet. It is a bit tricky because you want the feet to not get tripped up on things. And you want the feet to be able to be reversible so that he can go in reverse and not get all caught up and knotted up, and yeah, you'll figure it out. Yep, I've got the colours mixed up. Oh well, whatever. So this last bit is really just creating the housing for the battery, for the hub, Control Plus hub. I wasn't super happy with this. It was a bit, it feels a bit flimsy and a bit kind of, too many pieces and it's not symmetrical and I don't know. So if people have suggestions on how to improve the hub housing, I'd be happy to hear them as well. But for now, this works. People can come up with improvements to make it better. If people have found a way to program the Control Plus motors and the Control Plus hub, I'd love to hear about it because it just seems to be ridiculous that LEGO makes the new motors and hub pretty much impossible to play with, to modify or to create mocks with or to do anything with other than the exact set that the original hub was designed for. So I think that's pretty stupid. But if there are people out there who are thinking about creating some sort of app that will allow people to easily program the hub and motors, I would love that. I would really love that. It'd be great. I know there's a couple of apps out there that kind of do it, but one of them requires a gamepad controller, which I don't have and I don't particularly want to buy because I don't play games. But if anyone's thinking of doing a bit of app development, there'd be a AFL community out there who would love you to develop a Control Plus app that actually works. Yeah, see what I mean? It's all a bit fiddly and odd. I think there'd be better ways to make this anyway for later. Yeah, I don't really like those two spacer connector things. It's just a bit, I don't know. It's okay. I do love the way reversing videos make it look so effortful, and to just powerfully punch a pin through a brick. Mm. Mm. So those four axles that are poking up there are little housing pins for the hub. You'll see that go on in a minute. Yeah, it's just me admiring my own handiwork. It's nothing pretty, but it'll do. And the hub descends. Yay! You can plug it into whatever ports you like, because the app that I've suggested will allow you to it'll just figure out which ones you should be plugged into. So the Boost Remote is the one that you want, and that's the app, Boost Remote. We'll control it. And because I'm as vain as the next person, I have put some sort of decorative bits, but you don't need them. If you want to put different decorative bits on, or just not bother with them at all, then don't put them on. But you know, I like the idea of creating a little bit of a, you know, a bit of pretty, bit of bling. We are almost there, folks. Just a little bit more pretty to put on, as you can see, barely anything left. And in fact, the last couple of pieces are not even, I mean, again, they're really for connecting a upper body, some sort of body, to the Walker base, whatever you like. So these little pins here that we're going to put in, you don't have to put them in at all, but you can use them as connecting locations for whatever you want to wobble or move on top of the body. Almost there, folks. Looking good. I quite like it with the stickers. I think that works quite well. Anyway, if you don't like them, leave them off, whatever. Yeah, come on, Tony, it's not complicated. They just put them on already. There we go. Jesus. Okay, folks, that's it. We're done. This is the base. You can see it walking around, doing the good things. It turns really nicely, I think. Have fun.